Hello, everybody. Welcome to KT Confidential episode 190, where I, Mily, a Gen Zer, will be asking Ariel a whole bunch of questions about the market, first-time buyers, renters, smart investment opportunities, and what to do. Stay tuned.
Here we go. What's up, TikTok? Episode 190 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. My co-host today. We're going live for the first time on TikTok. Send us your questions. Mily is our Gen Zer that's going to be asking me how many questions?
So many, like 20.
20 questions.
21, actually.
Rapid fire. I have no idea what these questions are. So
Stay tuned.
Tune in, ask questions. Here we go. I'm going to pass the camera off to our media department, or the phone off to the media department.
Hello.
Flip this camera. Can we do it? Can we flip while we're live?
Yeah. Are we on TikTok?
We are on TikTok.
Okay.
Tap flip on the top right corner of camera screen.
No, that's the power one. I don't want to turn it off.
We'll be back with the proper flip of the camera. Apparently, you cannot flip the camera mid-live stream here. We did not know. So good time to follow Kormendy Trott on TikTok so you don't miss out on our upcoming live video, which starts in 30 seconds. Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Mily P.
That's
to
me.
the podcast. So Mily, for those of you that don't know, she is our client concierge / administrative catch-all. She does a little bit of everything for our team. And she's also the youngest.
I am.
The youngest on the team.
Sure am. I'm 21, everyone.
21.
21.
It's still an age where you can actually tell people your age.
I can't.
21. She is the youngest on the team.
Yep.
Classified as a Gen Zer. So I'm totally out of this stuff. Mm-hmm. What age bracket, what years do you have to be born in to be a Gen Zer?
So Gen Z is 1997 to 2012. So that whole range is Gen Z. The rest of it is like pioneer days. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
So I don't know where I fit in, but it's certainly not in the Gen Z time frame. Mm-mm. So Mily had this idea because she's 21 and works for this big real estate team and has real estate ambitions. Mily is actually taking her courses to get licensed as a realtor. Mm-hmm. And she's learning the ins and outs of our business.
I am.
But would also like to be a homeowner.
I would. Someday I would like to be a homeowner.
So is it okay if I disclose your current relationship a little bit?
Go ahead.
Because her partner, Nick, I'm sure he's going to watch this.
Oh,
so
he better be.
I'm giving him a shout out. Woo! Her and Nick have been together for more than 3 years.
Yes.
And Nick is wrapping school up shortly. Mm-hmm. Mily's got her career job all in the works and lining up for bigger and better things. And at that stage in your life, you want to move out of mommy and daddy's home.
Yes. As soon as possible.
Yes, as soon as possible. We've all been there, trust me.
Oh, I bet.
But would also like to be a homeowner.
Yeah.
So Mily's going to ask me something we've never done before. By the way, Adrian couldn't be here today, but this was discussed. This whole topic was discussed of being a Gen Zer and what it's like to purchase real estate, to want to purchase real estate. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming that's the path we're going down with your questions.
Yes. I have a good chunk of questions to ask you.
Yeah, there's a lot I can see. I'm not reading it. Don't worry, I can't read backwards that far.
Good.
But I can see she's got a whole. She's prepared. Like,
oh yeah.
This is way more prepared than any other podcast that we've done. Oh. All 188 episodes previous to this were kind of, maybe some scribble notes, but not that intense. So we're gonna get through all these questions. TikTok. if you are listening and you've got some real estate questions, specifically if you're a Gen Zer and you want your question answered, chime in. And for those of you watching and listening to this edited, we're live on TikTok. So maybe this is something that we'll do in the future as well.
Something that I'm pretty, skilled on.
Yeah.
Maybe not you guys, but I am.
Hey, that was a shot.
I know.
Them
Sorry,
fighting
guys.
words.
Sorry.
I think we do. I think we do have more followers than you on TikTok. So
Oh my
be careful.
gosh. Okay, you do. But
So before we get into your questions,
yeah.
I mean, I told everybody a little bit about you. Do you want to give the viewing audience your origin story? Maybe how you ended up at KT.
For sure. So, my name's Mily. I'm 21 years old. I was in school for about 3 years. And then I said, you know what? I was in for teaching and I said, I don't think it's right for me. And I got the idea of real estate. And I came across the Kormendy Trott team, thankfully, and got a job as client concierge. And in that time, I was taking my courses. So I just thought this is perfect step for me to get my foot in the industry and figure out what it's all about. And you guys have helped me along the way. I'm so grateful for it. I live in Milton from Toronto. So I'm a downtown city girl.
Yeah, I just found this out. And
Yeah.
I know most of our staff pretty well. Flo, I don't know a whole lot yet because I was off sick just after she started. And she's always knee deep in the production aspect of, this podcast. She's doing a fantastic job. The podcast looks looking great. But I just learned this about you maybe a week ago or so, that you grew up really downtown Toronto. Mm-hmm. Like off of the Esplanade somewhere there, you're saying.
The St. Lawrence Market area was my stomping grounds until I was about 13 when we moved to Milton because my parents wanted more of a suburban lifestyle. But I really wish I didn't leave. I mean, I love Milton, but I still want to be downtown.
Well, it's not that far away. Like you can have mini trips. But so I went to the last Maple Leafs game 7 at Scotiabank Arena, and I stayed downtown, and I met a buddy on the Esplanade, and I was telling you the story, and you said, yeah, I just lived right around the corner from there, which is I think is really cool. I went to the St. Lawrence, the story started, I went to the St. Lawrence Market because my buddy was running behind, and I sat down there and I had some fresh oysters while I waited for him.
Right.
And I love the St. Lawrence Market. I also love
the area.
Fresh oysters.
Right.
So you actually went to school on the island and boated from mainland Toronto to the Toronto Island to go to school.
Every single day.
Which I think is crazy.
Yeah. So we would take the ferry, which is the big boats that you take across Lake Ontario.
Thanks for elaborating on what a ferry is.
Right. Some of you, suburban people might not know what it is. So I'm just letting you know. And we would go literally every single day, Monday to Friday at 9 a.m.
So what happens in the winter?
The boat's going right through the ice.
Wow.
There's no stopping. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's no stopping. You're going to school. So then we would take our bus after we got to the island all the way to our school. So we went to Wards Island on the ferry and then drove to Center Island. So you know where Centerville is?
Yes.
Yeah, right down the street.
So was that school the designated school that you had to go to because where you lived?
No. So I had a school actually attached to my building, my apartment that I lived in with my family. But my mom wanted me to go to a little bit more of a better school, especially in the area at that time.
Let's see, it paid off a little bit more of a better school.
Just a little bit, yeah. Mm-hmm. So she always wanted to go to the island school herself and said, you know what, she couldn't. So she decided to put her only child, me, into that school.
Spoiled.
Yeah, very.
Was that a private school?
No, public school. Public school.
So they forged some documents to get you in there.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Right.
Just a little bit. My name might not have been Mily, but it's fine.
Do a lot of people, so side note, your name is spelled Mily.
Yeah.
And I think when I first interviewed you, which was a Zoom call, I may have called you Mily. I don't know.
I think
But
you have.
Does that happen a lot?
Every single day.
Right.
Every day. And there's no E in my name, so I don't know where they're getting the E from. But it's a lot. So, I mean, I wish
there's
I
no
was.
double L and there's no
No.
IE. So
I mean, I wish I was as successful as Miley Cyrus, but
Right.
not yet.
All right.
Not
Are we
yet.
going to get to your questions?
We better, yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Let's
Okay,
go.
so the whole gist of all of my questions are basically to help Gen Z out with your advice.
Okay.
To see how we can.
So the goal of
The real
episode
estate.
190 of KT Confidential
Yeah.
is to help Gen Zers out with real estate advice.
Yes.
There you go.
Exactly.
Okay.
So.
Glad I could be of service.
Yeah, thank you. So the first question that I have is I know you have 2 little boys at home and they are young. So I wanted to know your advice for them to help them be in a comfortable position when it's their time without your help. No help from you. What would your
Ooh.
advice be to them? Because I know some people don't always have help.
So my kids are 5 years old. Mm-hmm. So that's probably I haven't thought about this yet. So I think actually a lot of younger people are going to get help from family.
Right.
Parents and grandparents specifically, because they are building up so much equity, specifically in real estate. And, the old saying, you can't take it with you, right?
Right.
Like you're
Of course.
you're going to die and you're going to leave it all behind. You might as well help a kid out that's in your family to enjoy it.
Right.
I'm not really going to have advice for my kids on how to get real estate. I'm going to have advice on how to be able to get to that level.
Right.
And I think that's a process that happens over time, because I can think back to when I was your age and I had a full-time job and I was making money. Much like you, I was spending money on stupid shit.
Yes.
I was spending money on Starbucks and McDonald's and, buying the new $100 sweater instead of the new $20 sweater at H&M.
Right.
So I think young people in any generation have always been heavy spenders, a good portion of people.
Yes.
We all have that friend that didn't go to the clubs and the parties and didn't drive the nice car and all that, and they just hoarded their money. And then they ended up buying a condo at the age of whatever, 25, 26. But they own real estate, but they were miserable leading up to that
Right.
date.
Right.
Well, maybe not miserable, but they didn't spend.
Right.
I think for me, for my kids, I see opportunities for real estate outside of where they might live. And you might ask questions that are going to lead me down this path, but you don't have to live in the real estate that you own.
Right. Okay.
You don't. Like if you live in Mississauga, in Oakville, in Toronto, in wherever in the GTA, you probably are not going to be able to afford something to live in. You're not going to be able to buy a piece of property to live in it. Especially knowing you Gen Zers have you specifically, you probably want the nice hardwood floors and the granite countertops and the stainless steel appliances. Like when you're in our listings, it's always the beautiful listings. You're like, I could see myself here.
For sure.
Right.
100%.
It's not the ugly ones that need a total renovation that you say, I want to buy this.
Yeah,
right?
no.
So.
But I also don't want to live in Timbuktu.
Well, that's my point. You can buy real estate right now there's a lot of places in the country. It doesn't even have to be in our province. Like I've been saying for a while now, I think Prince Edward Island is a fantastic place to invest in a beautiful, beautiful province.
Right.
And you can still buy real estate pretty affordably in that province. So, and even in the United States, although it's harder to own real estate and it's got more headaches, but there's other places other than where you want to live. So you rent where you want to live, whether it's King Street in Toronto or wherever, Main Street in Milton, and you buy maybe in Windsor, maybe in London, maybe in Acton. I don't know, but there's other places that become affordable.
Right.
So I'm going to teach my kids that as long as you own real estate, that is going to be your best investment long term. But I'm also going to teach them how to have lots of streams of income. And I think that's really important to owning any real estate at any point in your life. You can't rely on just one stream of income. And for me, obviously we have our real estate business where we help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate, and we earn commissions on that. We also have our property management company, which manages a whole bunch of residential and now commercial properties.
Right.
And we get some monthly revenue on that. But one of my passions is flipping things, buying and selling and flipping, and I do that as a hobby, and it does earn me income on the side. And it's not a lot.
Right. So side hustles.
Side hustles.
Okay.
Side hustles are well, they're very relevant and prevalent now, but I think going forward, there's going to be a lot of people that are just entrepreneurs by heart or want to be entrepreneurs. And whether you're making money on Instagram, TikTok, you're making money as an influencer, you're making money on Shopify, eBay, whatever, there's opportunities to earn more money, and you put that money aside instead of spending so you go to McDonald's every morning for an iced coffee.
Yeah, every single morning.
And sometimes you add in a Starbucks later in the day.
Right. On the occasion.
And you also get takeout food.
Yes. Quite a bit. I hope my mom doesn't watch this.
Don't tell her you're on the podcast. Okay, so that iced coffee at McDonald's, how much is that every morning?
Well, currently it's dollar drink days, so it's $1. But usually I'm going to say it's like $2.50 max.
$2.50.
Yeah.
Well, $1's not too bad.
No.
But if you work 220 days in a year, that's $220 you would have saved. Over a 5-year period, that's $1,100 right there.
Right.
And that's just on coffees in 5 years, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't include your Starbucks and your McDonald's takeout. Okay.
Well, and other guys. Not just
so answer to question number 1, teach the kids multiple streams of income. Always have money coming in.
Okay.
And you don't have to own real estate and live in it. You just have to own real estate.
Awesome. Great question. Thank you so much. So my second question, I know that in this generation nowadays, and I know even for myself, when I'm just scrolling through my phone, I have apps, real estate apps that have, listings on them, not necessarily realtor.ca, for example, but there's like apartments.com, Zillow, Zolo, a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
So how reliable are those?
That was me bleeping
Right.
all of those. They do not sponsor this podcast in any way, shape, or form. We do not condone them.
So just other apps and websites that have listings on them, how reliable are those? Like, do you think, would you rather someone get an actual realtor?
Realtor.ca is really reliable.
Right.
Except it is there is a lag. And you should know this because you input a lot of our listings. So when we hit send on our end for that listing to go live on the real estate boards, it does not show up on realtor.ca or any other website for a period of time.
Right.
That period of time is not written in stone. It depends on how many other listings are being loaded into the system. Is it a Friday afternoon versus a Monday morning? Is it a Wednesday morning? Whatever. how many are getting loaded in, and it depends on the board too. Different boards have different lag times. So, so if we hit send on the board listing right now, you as the general public, whatever app you're looking at, might not have access to it for a few hours. So in that period of time, if you're in a hot seller's market and you're waiting for the dream property to come up that you know other people are also waiting for, only realtors will have access to it immediately.
Right. So me as just a regular person on my couch won't necessarily see it.
Correct. Unless you've hooked up with a realtor that has given you kind of the behind the scenes access and set you up on an email alert, or if they set themselves up on an email alert and they're just notifying you right away, whatever it is.
Okay.
But the public sites, the public apps, they're a little bit lagging in time. Same thing with sold postings. You might not know that the property is sold, especially if it's conditional. You might not know that it's sold for days until that transaction is firm and complete. There are some good apps out there, but Realtor.ca is the most reliable because it feeds in the information from all of the boards across Ontario and across the country.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if an agent in Tillsonburg is listing the property in Mississauga under a different board, Realtor.ca will still capture that and you'll see it. And then you know who to contact, like the listing agent info is all there.
All there. Which leads me into my next question what are the benefits of having a real estate agent help you? As a first-time buyer or renter, do you think it's better to have an agent with you looking at homes, taking your factors in to what you want?
The first thing you should know is, as a buyer, it typically won't cost you any money to hire a realtor.
Okay.
You as the buyer are not paying the realtor any money or their brokerage any money to assist in the purchase, because their compensation is from the listing brokerage. The listing brokerage goes under contract with the seller to pay the listing brokerage a remuneration for the transaction. And if there is another brokerage, i.e. the buyer's brokerage involved, the listing brokerage compensates that buyer brokerage for bringing the buyer in and consummating that deal. So you as a buyer, you don't pay anything to have an agent help you.
Okay.
So why would you pull your own wisdom tooth out if you could go to the dentist and get it done for free? Okay. And do it early in the process. So yes, find somebody that's a licensed agent, more or less in your area, that knows the area that you want to buy in.
Okay.
Find somebody you connect with, right? Because you're not going to want to do business with somebody you don't like or don't respect or don't think you're going to get along with, because it is a process.
For sure.
And do it early in the process so that person can help educate you as you go.
Right.
So that's a really, really important part of the process. And then a mortgage agent. A mortgage agent and a real estate agent are going to be your two most important people in that process. Because the mortgage agent's going to get you the money. The real estate agent's going to help you spend it.
Right.
And the three people, yourself and the two agents, are the ones that are going to help get you your keys.
Right. My first key.
That's right.
Completely get it. I know you touched on it before in the first question that I asked, but what's your take on renting or buying? It
really is rapid fire.
Yeah. Does it like depend on someone's financial situation? Does it depend on the market? What's your take on that?
What do you mean? Should you rent or buy?
Yeah.
Well, obviously you should buy if you can afford it.
Right. But that's...
At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is the dollars and cents.
Right.
So going back to your first question about, advice to kids, if you can't afford to buy where you want to live, then you buy where you can afford.
Okay.
And if you can't afford to buy, period, then you have to find financial ways to make that affordable.
Or
And
stay
it might
home.
not and it might not be today. It might be in 2 years, 5 years, whatever.
Yeah.
But you have a goal. And yes, living with your parents is a big component to that. Like if you're in your 20s,
Yeah.
you are probably living at home until you're in your late 20s, early 30s right now. Like, yeah, it's,
Don't say that,
well,
please.
I mean, you got
I
your
love
own.
my parents. But
Well, then stop getting fucking takeout every day.
okay,
Like
I will.
at the, like, you know, people that complain that they can't afford real estate are spending money in stupid areas where it could be put into a savings account to be able to afford real estate.
Right.
So I know you want to buy a piece of real estate
Yeah.
and you want to move out of your parents' home.
Yes.
It's not financially feasible at this moment. The longer it goes, as time elapses, and if you have the right habits, it will be achievable.
Right.
But if you're spending $40 to $50 a week on coffees and takeout, that's $40 to $50 a week that could be going into an RRSP, which will give you, I don't know, $2,500 a year that you don't have right now. And in 4 years, that's $10,000.
Okay.
And with the government's RRSP plans, you could pull that out without paying tax on it, and that will be a good deposit to potentially buy some real estate. Maybe not in Milton or Toronto. I don't know. Maybe in North Bay. Who cares?
Oh my gosh.
Well, you buy a piece of real estate, it appreciates.
Right.
Real estate in the province of Ontario as a whole will appreciate 5 to 6% on average through peaks and valleys. So if you buy a $200,000 home, right? Because you need 5% down on a home. So that means with $10,000 with my savings of cutting out your crap,
Yeah.
you should be able to save $10,000 in 5 years. 4 years, 3 years, side hustle, ask the boss for higher salary. No, don't do that. Gave her ideas. Eh?
I know.
But those are little things. Like you can always ask your boss for more money. You can always cut out your takeout. You can call your cell phone provider and say, hey, I'm paying too much. Can you lower my phone bill? You call your insurance company and say, hey, why is my insurance so high? And go and shop it around. There are ways to cut out monthly expenses that you're currently spending money on that you don't need. Do you need the Kylie Jenner makeup?
Yes.
Well, then you don't need to buy real estate. That's my answer.
Well, so back to that.
Until you can afford to buy Kylie Jenner makeup and you own a piece of real estate, don't complain about not owning real estate.
Okay. So with the property that I have in North Bay, for example, that is cheaper than Milton and the GTA area, am I renting that out or am I
Yes.
living there?
Nope.
No, I'm
You're
renting
renting
that
it
out.
You become a landlord.
Okay.
You still might be living with your parents,
Right.
or if you and Nick decide, okay, honey bunny, I want to get to a point in our relationship where we're taking the next steps, talking about a family. So you go and rent something where you can afford and want to live, whatever.
Okay.
But meanwhile, you've got cash put aside
Yeah.
in that property.
Okay. So I don't have to move to
Every
North Bay.
month,
Yeah.
you've got a tenant paying down that mortgage. And every year, that property is appreciating 5 to 6%. So if you have a we're going back to North Bay, $200,000 house.
Okay.
I don't know real estate in North Bay at all. So I'm going to assume a $200,000 home. Let's say it rents for $800 a month.
Okay.
Call it $1,000.
Sure.
Let's say $1,000 on a $200,000 mortgage. Your mortgage payment is probably around $1,000.
Okay.
On every mortgage payment, approximately 45% of your mortgage payment is going towards the principal. So it's paying down 45 to 55, depending on the term and the interest rate. Call it half.
Okay.
So about half of your mortgage payment is going towards the principal. So if you have a $190,000 mortgage, every month that tenant is making a payment, $500 of that $1,000 payment is bringing down that $190,000. So in 2 months now it's $189.
Okay.
In 4 months it's $188, and so on and so forth.
Right.
And the property is appreciating about $10,000 a year.
Okay.
So in 5 years, with compound interest, let's say the property appreciates $55,000. So that $200,000 house is now worth $255,000.
Okay.
You've had a tenant in there paying $1,000 a month, of which about $500 a month goes to paying down the mortgage. So about $6,000 a year is being paid down. Over 5 years, that's $30,000. So from your original mortgage of $190,000, you now owe $160,000. The house is worth $255,000. You've got $95,000 with a $10,000 deposit and 5 years time. So if you start this now, in 5 years, you could have $95,000. You're still living where you want to live because you're renting or living with parents.
Okay.
But you've got a property now that you only owe $160,000 on that's worth $255,000. Now, maybe you say at that point, oh, I've got this property that's now got $95,000 worth of equity and it only cost me $10,000.
Right.
Why don't I do that again? So now maybe you go back to the bank because your term was 5 years and now the mortgage is coming due.
Okay.
And you go to the bank and you say, hey, that property up in North Bay, the mortgage is coming due. I need new financing on it. My tenant is still there paying $1,000. Maybe now it's $1,200 a month.
Okay.
And I want to pull some of my money out of it to go and buy another property. I want to leverage that property and now go and buy another one.
With the equity that I have.
Correct.
Okay.
So now in 10 years' time, you've got 2 or 3 or 4 of these $200,000 properties that are all being paid down by tenants that are all appreciating conservatively 5 to 6% a year.
Right.
And there's your down payment on your first really nice house. And yes, it's a 10-year process, but you're 21. So to buy a really nice house at 31 and have $400,000 to $500,000 of equity to be able to do that would be pretty powerful.
Right.
The problem is most younger people that are your age, and I'm 42 this year, so you're half my age, they read all this stuff, they watch all these TikToks and YouTube videos,
Yeah.
and there's people like me saying how to do it, what to do, what you should do. The problem is very few people actually do it.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Myself included.
Yourself included.
Yes.
You see it here.
Right.
I bought my first property when I was 24.
Okay.
And it was a total random thing. And I sold that property 5 years later. It wasn't my ideal property. I sold it 5 years later to buy the home that I'm actually still living in now with my wife and kids.
Yes.
And I was able to do that because of the equity in that property. I wouldn't have been able to buy my existing home without making that step. They're all stepping stones.
Right.
All right.
So you got to start small.
That was the short answer to Mily's question.
So you got to start small and work yourself up. You can't just...
Doesn't matter what it is. You have to build equity. And easiest way to build equity is through real estate. So figure out where and how you're going to buy.
Yeah.
And just buy.
Anywhere that I can afford.
And any time in the market.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. My next question is, I have seen a lot of things called closing costs, and how does someone prepare for that? Because once you buy your house, you're all excited and everything, but once you're at closing, how does somebody prepare for that? Like, how do I know how much I need?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to be blindsided.
That's a good question. Depends on where the property is, how much the property is. Typically, people budget like 4 to 5% for closing costs. You have your land transfer tax. So land transfer tax in the province are a set fee, but as a percentage. But if you're buying in Toronto, there is an additional land transfer tax. So it depends on where, and then every province potentially as well. But that's the importance of having a realtor that will actually walk you through the numbers, and having a mortgage agent that tells you what you can actually financially get from a lender.
Right.
So if your mortgage agent says, okay, Millie, lender A is willing to lend you $250,000.
Okay.
And you say to me, the realtor, okay, Ariel, I can get a $250,000 mortgage. If I spend the $250,000, how much am I going to need for my deposit, my down payment, my land transfer tax, my lawyer costs? There aren't a lot of fees. It's land transfer tax, your lawyer's fees to close on the deal, adjustments in closing. So if the seller has prepaid property taxes for a few months, you got to pay them back. And then potentially title insurance for your mortgage. So chances are, if you are a first-time home buyer and you're putting 5% down, there's going to be mortgage insurance and title insurance to protect you in the event that there's something wrong on title. So those are the costs. Lawyer costs wrap all of that up pretty much. 4 to 5% is what most people budget for, but it depends where you live. So you talk to your realtor. Realtor will have the map of all of the expenses for you.
And going back on the mortgage question, will someone ever not be approved for a mortgage?
Sure.
And then
if your credit sucks.
Right.
If your job sucks. If you're a credit criminal and you're borrowing money and not paying it back. You got to have good credit, good job. You got to have some money in the bank. Combination of all of the three. A lot of people that have maybe, let's say your credit report, your credit score is not the greatest. You made some mistakes as a teenager. You forgot to pay. Well, credit cards are weird. Some of them are, some of them report differently, but certainly cell phone companies report, but it doesn't show up on all of the reports. But let's just say you missed some payments that are recurring, like a loan. You had a loan on a car or a student loan. And you screwed up and you missed a couple of payments. It will affect your credit, but there's still potentially lenders out there that will lend you the money. Maybe at a higher rate or with different clauses. Different conditions.
There's catches on it.
Potentially. So you got to be careful. But yes, there is a potential that you just get flat out declined.
And then have to build your credit?
Find out why.
Okay.
Is it because of my credit? Is it because of my job? Is it why? You know, new immigrants sometimes have difficulties in getting loans because they have no history.
Right.
Same thing with kids right out of school, right? Like you get out of university. Maybe you had that, whatever, $500 MasterCard that used to be great for going shoe shopping, but now, not so great anymore.
Right.
And if you had a $36 payment, it really wasn't in your head at that time that, my payment of $36 is due at the end of the month. I might have forgotten.
Okay.
So you got to find out, why did I not get approved, and then work towards building that over time, potentially.
So not getting approved, could I get my parents to co-sign? Is that options, or is it just flat out, you're going to have to wait?
Well, everybody's situation will be different.
Of course.
But parents often co-sign.
For your first home?
They do.
Okay.
They do. And as I said earlier, there is a lot of money being gifted. Generational real estate is happening. Generational gifting in real estate is happening. A lot.
Yes.
And maybe they want you out of the house just as much as you want to be out of the house, right?
I'm sure they too.
So like, here's 20 grand, go nuts or whatever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's happening a lot.
Right.
I had a client not that long ago that his parents gave them as a wedding gift $100,000 to use towards their first home.
Wow.
So yeah, it's happening a lot. Like they bought their home, I don't know, in 1993 for 150 grand, and it's worth 1.5 million now. They don't owe any money on it, so they get a line of credit on their home, or maybe they have the cash because they haven't been paying a mortgage for a while, and they say, okay, well, here you go, daughter, here you go, son.
Right.
This is our gift to you. We want to see you investing in real estate. We know you can't do it, so here's the money.
Right.
It's happening a lot. But if that doesn't happen, they can certainly put their name on the dotted line. So if they have a job, they have good credit, they have equity in their home, instead of giving you money,
Yes.
if you have money or your goal is to buy that property in North Bay
Yeah.
just to get your name on title, maybe they just sign on the dotted line. That way they're responsible. So the bank looks at it as, okay, Mily doesn't pay.
One of my parents. Right.
Going to your parents.
Okay.
It will, however, affect your parents.
Yeah.
If payments aren't being made, it will report on their report.
Okay.
And it also is on their debt servicing ratio. So if they try to get any other credit, like another mortgage down the road,
Yeah.
this will now show up as a debt on them. So they have to be in a good place financially and also know their goals over the next.
And that's even if they're not paying for it, if
Correct.
it's coming straight out of me. Okay. Good to know.
Their name goes on the mortgage. Their name goes on title as well.
Oh.
Because most of the time when a lender will lend you the money and they're saying, okay, Millie, it's you and your dad and your mom
Yeah.
that I'm lending the money to. So I want all three of your names on the title as owners as well.
Right. So it kind of trickles down to no
Correct.
payments. Okay.
Yep.
And you mentioned the bank account situation.
I did.
Yes, a couple questions ago. So you did say that there are bank accounts that would help with down payments or, RRSPs or whatever you said for homes.
Okay.
Okay. So what, besides just a regular savings account, like are there other accounts that people can put their money into that's not money just sitting there, like it's gaining interest or anything to help them?
Yeah, it depends how much money there is. I mean, there's so many thoughts that are out there in the marketplace. Do you invest in crypto? Do you invest in NFTs? Do you invest in stocks,
Right.
GICs? If you're saving towards your first house, throw cash in your pillow. I don't care what you do with it, and don't worry about interest on $10,000. Like,
Okay.
it's going to pay you so minimal to worry about
Right.
the interest that's coming in on that,
Okay.
because you also want to have that money relatively liquid. So as you go, you might decide to pull that money out in a year because you found a house that you want to buy.
Yeah.
Or maybe Nick says, hey, I got an extra 10 grand I haven't been telling you about for the last 3 years, and I finally trust you to invest with you, so let's buy a house together.
Yes.
I'm kind of joking. That actually happens more often than you believe, right? Like,
Right. Okay.
as a new couple buying their first home, you all of a sudden find out that there's money somewhere, or that
Right.
they owe money. That happens a whole lot too.
Right.
Oh, you didn't tell me your credit score is 3.
Okay.
That happens quite a bit.
Right.
So GICs are pretty safe.
Okay.
I like GICs myself, especially now when mortgage rates are going higher. GICs are going higher because banks need money to lend out.
What's a GIC?
Guaranteed Investment Certificate. I think that's what it means.
Someone look it up.
So basically the bank says, okay, lend us your $10,000.
Okay.
We'll pay you depending on how long you keep the money in and what kind of guarantees you're giving us on that money. And we'll give you 2% interest on that money.
Okay. So you are still gaining a little bit.
You gain a little bit.
Okay.
Better than nothing.
Right. So I guess it really doesn't matter which savings.
Or as you're saving,
yeah.
talk about side hustles and having different lines of streams of income.
Right.
Maybe you're using that money and trying to multiply that money somehow.
Yeah.
So when you go home from work today, you invest in a lawnmower and you're going door to door trying to mow people's lawns to make an extra $100 cash tonight.
Right.
And you're doing that all week, every week.
Yeah.
So you pay back your lawnmower. And am I like going like really old school with this whole lawnmower?
I don't know if anyone does that anymore.
I wish they did. My lawn needs some mowing. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe, you know, your friends that like to dress nicely and have straightened hair and good makeup for going out on the weekends, you know, the ones that get bottle service and go and party all weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe you can also invite them over to your home to make them look good and charge them money to do it.
That's true.
So you invest, you know, maybe in a little side business or a side hustle, or you go garage sailing, things like that. So those are options. I'm big on, like, literally, I have thousands of dollars sitting in a savings account that earns me, a checking account that earns me 0 interest.
Okay.
Nothing.
Right.
It's not invested anywhere. Yes. Having said that, I do have investments all over.
Of course.
But I also have cash. Because cash
Saved
is
up.
cash saved up in a checking account that is there.
Okay.
Because when an opportunity comes up, you want to have access to that.
For sure.
And if I invested in Facebook 6 months ago at a peak, and now it's worth half, now instead of 10,000, I have 5,000.
Well, I know that.
Or if I bought one of those ape NFTs that were selling for $300,000 and now selling for $100,000.
Yeah.
Or Bitcoin. You could have bought Bitcoin back in 2017 for, I don't know, a few $1,000, and now then it went up to 50, 60,000, and now back down to 30,000. So
right. So those are smart in your opinion. Maybe.
No.
Oh, they're not?
Are you listening?
Yes, I am. But like you're saying
Cash. Keep cash. You can have your money invested in all these places, but the volatility of them
right. Okay, that's true.
are not going to help you.
Well, yeah.
If you got extra money and you don't want to buy real estate,
yeah.
then who cares? Risk it.
Okay.
But you don't want to risk the money that you're saving on your first home.
No, and it's risky to
take
save
the cash, put it in your pillow, sleep on it good at night. Next question.
Okay. Got it. Thanks. Okay. I have a couple more questions. I mean, you kind of touched on this before, but does my credit score really impact me? Okay.
Everybody should pull their credit score. If you don't already do it, you should pull your credit score a few times a year.
Pull it? What do you mean pull it?
Go to Equifax.ca or TransUnion. There's all kinds of credit reporting companies that you can go online and get your report.
So check it.
Check your,
okay.
Yes.
Right. I have Credit Karma myself.
Credit Karma is fine. Okay. Bank of Montreal even gives you free access to it on their app.
Okay.
Know what is in your credit report.
Okay.
Know what your score is and how that relates to the rest of your peers, the rest of the industry, the rest of the country, whatever.
Right.
A decent credit score.
And how long does it take for you to get a good credit? So someone who's never had a credit card before, doesn't pay any bills, say I'm fresh off the block. I just got my first credit card. Is it going to take me 2 years to like gain good credit if I'm like always on my payments and everything, you know, for a company to see or a lender to see, okay, she's been doing good, or like how long does it take?
Yeah. A $500,000 or $1,000 credit card isn't a lot for a lender to go by when they're lending you $250,000.
Right. Okay.
So you take steps. You get that first credit card with a low limit.
Okay.
And now you prove to that credit card company, and usually it takes about a year.
Yeah.
You prove to that credit card company, hey, I've been paying you guys well for a year. The key is with a credit card, if you want to talk about credit cards, you have a credit card?
Yes.
What's your limit?
I have 2. I have one that's $1,500 and I have one that's $500.
Okay.
So
the 500 you got first, I'm assuming?
yes.
Right. And you started using that $500 credit card and paying it off.
Yes.
And then you had enough history with that credit card that another bank or the same bank said, hey, Mily, you're pre-qualified for this new $1,000 credit card. And you're like, wow, I'm moving up in the world, $1,000. Oh, man, better watch my shopping this weekend. And then you use that for a year, and then they say, hey, you've been paying us well. Your limit's now $1,500.
Right.
Is that how it worked?
Yes.
Yes. So the key is use the credit card frequently.
Okay.
In fact, I have said this on past podcasts, and it's one of my biggest financial recommendations for anybody at any income level and at any age.
Okay.
Pay for everything with your credit card.
Okay.
Absolutely everything with your credit card.
Okay. And pay it off right away.
But the key is not pay it off right away.
Okay.
The bank gives you free money in a 30-day statement.
Okay.
You know when you get your statement?
Yes.
There is a statement date and there is a payment due date.
Yeah.
Usually there are 2 weeks between the statement date and the due date. They usually give you 2 weeks.
Okay.
The key is you just have to pay the full balance before your payment due date.
Yeah.
Full balance.
Okay.
Because when you pay your full balance, you pay 0 interest.
Right. I do know that.
Free money. You're telling me I can buy shoes today and not pay interest on it and not have to pay for it for 3 weeks? The bank is saying, here's your $100.
Yeah.
Go and use it for the next. Pay me in 3 weeks, and you don't have to pay me any more than the $100.
Right.
But if you don't pay me in 3 weeks and you pay me in 22 days, you're going to pay me $105.
Yes. From interest.
Or $110. And then the interest starts accumulating.
Oh, for sure.
And then you're like, I'm using my credit card a little too much.
Yes.
And I'm not paying it down enough.
In full or enough?
Full. Pay it in full every month. Use it all the time.
Okay.
It helps you budget, helps you understand exactly where you're spending your money without having to use too many accounts. Don't close any of your credit cards ever.
Okay.
Don't close any of the accounts because that will affect your credit score.
Okay.
The longer you have a credit card, the longer it's reporting to the credit bureau.
Okay.
And the longer your account is in good standing, the better your credit is going to be.
Right.
Your score.
So if I don't use it.
Just have it at a 0 balance.
Okay.
And just don't touch it. Lock it away in a drawer and just leave it there. And that's assuming there's no annual fees. I'm assuming there's not. When it's a $500 card or a $1,500 card, they usually don't have fees.
No fees, but the interest rates are pretty high.
30%, 27%, whatever it is.
Yeah. But no annual fees. So if there were, make sure you pay them.
So that $500 card, if I were you,
yeah,
pay it down to 0 if it isn't already.
Yeah.
Lock that card away, never use it again. Period.
Okay.
Pay for everything using your $1,500 card.
Okay.
Make sure whatever you're spending, you can pay back within your statement period date.
Okay.
If you can't,
don't use it.
Don't buy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That's explanatory.
And then, like right now, if we're getting serious and right now you want to buy a home, look at your spending over the last 30, 60, 90 days, maybe even go a bit further, see where your money is being spent, look at your statements.
Right.
Oh, did I need Yogan Frus 5 times last month?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Did I have to buy 4 pairs of shoes? Did I need this? Did I need to pay that?
Right. Just always be aware.
Things like cable bills, internet bills,
Yeah.
insurance. See if you can chop things down.
Yeah.
Do I need my Netflix subscription? Do I need Us Weekly delivered to the house every month or whatever, every week? Yeah.
So your side hustles that you were saying, just to get a little bit more in depth, I don't know if you can talk about personally or just your advice, every side hustle kind of put that money towards something, or you're kind of just getting a whole bunch of lump sums of money and then you disperse it. You know what I mean? Like you're flipping.
It depends what your goal is, right?
Right.
Like I use my flip money
Yeah.
to buy things that I want that I wouldn't buy because I don't like spending my money on stupid shit.
Right.
But I do like spending money on stupid shit if I have that extra money that I made from selling other stupid shit.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's it's like I love to gamble. I love to go to the casino.
Right.
I love playing blackjack. I love going to the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
I love sitting down at Woodbine watching the horses and betting on the horses.
Okay.
I don't like losing money.
No one does.
So, well, yeah, thanks. Raise your hand if you enjoy losing money. So, I'll give you an example. I won't give you the numbers behind it all.
Okay.
But I am into sports card collecting. I have been since I was about 6 years old.
Oh my gosh.
And that was my side hustle when I was a kid.
Okay.
I used to buy, sell, and trade sports cards up until the age of
42?
16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a cool kid. No, but seriously, until I got a car and a girlfriend, that was what I did in all my spare time.
And then you realized you have some...
No, then I was spending my money on other stupid shit.
Okay.
So I would buy sports cards and trade them for other sports cards or sell them off and over time.
Mm-hmm.
And any profit I would then use for other stuff that I didn't have money to spend on.
Okay.
I do the same thing today. So I bought a sports card back, I want to say early 2020.
Okay.
So about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I saw it as an opportunity. I bought it in an auction on eBay.
Okay.
It is now worth about 3 times what I paid for it.
Oh my god.
And we're not talking about a cheap card. It's
Right.
a relatively higher priced card. It's now worth 3 times. At one point, it went up to 5 times the value, and now it's dropped back a little bit like a lot of the markets have.
Okay.
It's now worth 3 times. So I actually just inserted it into an auction that's going to happen next month to sell it.
Okay.
There's a profit to be made. Out of that profit, some of it is going to come home with me.
Right.
Some of it's going into the bank, into the checking account that I don't touch.
Okay.
It's just money there that if myself or my family, we want to buy something that we see as a good opportunity or as an investment, the money's there.
Okay.
The other money, I went and I bought more sports cards.
Right.
So I treated myself and then I spent it on some more stupid shit,
Right.
if you consider that stupid shit.
Well, no, because then you're just gonna do the exact same thing that you did with the other card.
Potentially.
Maybe you don't know.
You don't know.
Right.
It's a risk. When you're buying in any market, whether it's real estate, but specifically stocks, or something like crypto, NFTs,
Yeah.
you have a lot of peaks and valleys in those markets. So it might
Yes.
be worth $100 today and $5 tomorrow. You
Right.
don't know, right?
2,000 down the road.
Potentially.
Right.
Potentially. Next.
Okay. So wait, give me a second. I'm trying to think of. I just had it in my head because it's actually not on here.
Did we get through all 20 questions?
No, we didn't.
Flo, do we have any questions from the audience?
We do have 2.
Okay.
Oh, which
Let's
are?
answer questions
Yeah.
from the audience here.
All right. So the first one is rent or buy.
Renter. So that's similar to your question. Rent
Yeah.
or buy, does it depend on the market or somebody's financial situation?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Like we already addressed that a little bit, that I believe you should buy. Just find out where you can buy real estate.
And I think that's smart. I don't think a lot of people think about that. They just think about their area and
Right.
say, I can't afford it, so I'm just going to rent, not say waste your money.
You can always rent because it doesn't matter if you have a $500,000 mortgage that's being paid down by a tenant.
Right.
You can still go and rent. The landlord, prospective landlord, as long as you pay the rent every month, they don't care that you're also a landlord.
No, of course.
So you can always rent. And the nice thing about renting is that you can move around a lot more freely than you can when you own. So having a property that's just there and being paid down, yeah, so it does depend on the market, though, because like right now we're going into more of a buyer's market. So somebody that could only afford a $200,000 home, might have only been able to afford a condo a few months ago, whereas now maybe they can afford something that's a little bigger, like a townhouse. So at the peak of the seller's market, buyers have a little bit more handcuffs on.
Right. And with that, how does someone my age or in my generation kind of follow the market? So how do we know, besides just general knowledge? And me, I'm lucky enough to be in the industry and have you guys.
Yeah.
But if someone doesn't know, but they are in my situation of wanting to buy or rent or move out in general, how do I keep an eye on the market? Like, is there websites?
That's actually a really good question. I mean, there are now, much like this one, some podcasts
Okay.
that help educate the,
Right.
general public.
Okay.
I generally stay away or try to stay away from like the bigger media conglomerates because they're pushing a lot of the doom and gloom or the the rahs. Like they're trying to get hits and viewers and readers and all that more than anybody, right?
Yeah.
So and I don't look at a lot of the statistics myself because statistics are very broad averages that have a lot of junk data in it. So, again, talking to a realtor, talking to a few realtors, these are the people that do it every day,
Right.
and interviewing them. So as an example, if you want to hire a buyer agent, you want to hire an agent that's going to help you buy your first home,
Yeah.
select a few and meet them for a coffee or have a Zoom call
Okay.
and ask their opinion.
Okay.
And if you start seeing the same answers, you'll know that, okay, this is
Real.
this is real. This
Right.
is what's happening in the market.
Okay.
And you might jive with one of those people or really trust one of those people. Maybe you were referred to one of those agents, so you have a little bit more of a connection. But these are the people, like as realtors, we live and breathe this every single day.
Yeah.
Live time, 24/7. So I can tell you exactly the pulse of the market at any given time.
Right. Well, that's helpful.
Yes.
Any other questions?
And free.
Well? And that is true. And free. Was there any other ones?
This isn't much of a question, it's just a comment, but
Comment?
Sullivan said, this was really eye-opening. I'm Gen Z myself, so it's funny to see how impulsive buying adds up over time. Super useful tips, thanks.
Anytime.
Yeah. It's about discipline.
Right.
And the funny thing about Gen Zers is you all talk about wanting to own real estate, but very few are actually doing the dirty work to get to that point.
Right. I think people just think I have to save up 50 grand. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Right. And you're getting
Screw it.
deflated.
Yeah, screw it. I'm
Right.
just going to live with my parents and spend my money on whatever I want to spend it on.
Right.
Not paying rent at my parents' house. You know what I mean? Like there's,
Oh, trust me, I know what you mean. At the age of 21,
yeah.
I started earning a 6-figure salary.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I blew it all.
Yeah.
I blew it all for years.
Right.
Well, I was 24 when I bought my first house. It was a $200,000 house that I put 5% down on.
Okay.
So I needed that $10,000, call it $14,000, $15,000 with the closing costs we talked about.
Okay.
Needed another $5,000 to buy a TV and a couch, and that's literally all the furniture I had for quite some time.
Right.
Pretty well until I moved out. But thousands of dollars were spent on vacationing, on partying. You know, I remember for my cousin's 21st birthday, he's 5 years, 6 years younger than me. We went to Las Vegas. We got the penthouse suite. We went to the clubs, got bottle service, did some gambling, went to see some shows, went to the nicest restaurants. Thousands of bucks just thrown out the window.
Right.
Yes, life experience, but could I have bought another house or a better house than what I did had I saved all that money that I blew? The answer is yes.
Well, you can still do that as long as you have your ducks in line, you know, and not
It's all about your own expectation and your own realizations.
Right.
If you want to own a home, you currently don't own a home, and you know to get that home for the next 2 years, you got to eat dog shit. You can't have the McDonald's double cheeseburger. You can't have the McDonald's iced coffee every morning.
Right.
You can't have the Starbucks treat. You can't wear, what is this that you're wearing?
Aritzia.
Aritzia. Is Aritzia expensive?
Fairly. Yes.
The sweater is Aritzia.
I'm going to say the sweater is maybe $70.
70.
70, yes.
That looks to me, no offense, no different than something you would get at H&M.
No, and you easily could.
And how much would a sweater like that at H&M cost?
I'm going to say $19.99.
$20?
Yeah.
So there's $50.
Yeah.
How many times in a year would you buy something like that? It is nice, and I like the color.
Thank you.
And it probably will hold up a little bit better than maybe they're made in the same fucking factory. I don't know.
You know what? They probably are. I wouldn't be surprised.
You know, your car.
Yeah.
You didn't get the most lavish car.
No.
But you didn't get the cheapest one either.
No, for sure. I didn't get my Porsche Cayenne that I want.
Well,
but
maybe if you own 3 or 4 investment properties, you could, because then your vehicle becomes deductible because you end up running around to all those properties. So then you lease your Porsche Cayenne
for sure
against the income that those properties are generating.
Right. And you being a business owner and talking about your side hustles, do you encourage entrepreneurship with people like my age, or do you think just, get a full-time job, you're stable?
Everybody's different.
Yeah. But
my father was a shitty entrepreneur.
Okay.
He was an excellent electrician, but he was a shitty entrepreneur. Okay. The problem was he didn't like to work for anybody, so he had no choice.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to work for somebody, you only can be an entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah.
You got to decide what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Some people love having side hustles like me. I very seldomly. I mean, I have sometimes lately just crashed on the couch and binge watched TV shows late at night or on a day off or whatever.
Yeah.
But usually I don't watch a lot of TV. Usually I'm looking around the house for something to sell on Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
Like, can I take a picture of my old golf shoes, which I was meaning to do yesterday and I didn't. It was Father's Day. Give me a day.
Yes.
Give me a break.
Okay.
Day off. Take a picture of those golf shoes, throw it on Facebook Marketplace, and have somebody pick it up for $20 tonight.
Right.
I'm not going to wear those ever again. This Aritzia sweater, if you wear that for more than 12 months, I would be shocked.
I definitely will not.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happened to the sweater like that you bought 12 months ago? Where is it?
In my closet?
Right. And when are you going to wear it again?
Never.
Why wouldn't somebody else pay you for that sweater?
Right. And I think that is a very common side hustle that people do nowadays is selling.
That's entrepreneurship.
Right. But I'm not going to start a business on selling my clothes. Am I?
I don't know. You do whatever the hell you want. You want to own property?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Do something.
Yeah. So I think that's the gist of everything is.
You go to your mom and dad. You live at home.
Yes.
You go to your mom and dad.
Yeah.
You've lived in the same house for how many years?
10.
10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you they have crap around the house that they are too lazy to get rid of, but know they need to get rid of it.
Right.
That actually has value.
Right.
Hey, mom. Hey, dad. You got any crap around the house that I can sell for a few extra bucks?
Right.
I'll sell it and I'll give you a cut.
Okay.
I don't know. Don't give them a cut. Just take. First start off. I'm going to the Salvation Army. Do you have any stuff you want to donate?
And they see it on
Right.
Facebook the next
They
day.
see it. Hey, Millie, that looks like my root sweater that I gave you to donate to the Salvation Army. Yeah, well, I sold it for $20, and I just bought this Aritzia sweater for $70.
Well, and I think a big thing. I remember when you interviewed me, one of your questions was, "Do I watch any real estate shows,
HGTV
shows, anything?" And I still do, and I see a lot of fixer-upper shows. Constant.
Where's my phone?
Your phone's right there. Constant fixer-upper shows, and like that's like people just buying a home in North Bay, fixing it up and selling it, or renting it out or whatever. Is that a smart?
No.
Okay.
Personal opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody might have a different opinion.
Okay.
First of all, you've never been in, unless you're in that industry.
Right.
Like if you work for a contractor and you meet a flooring person, a tile person, you meet a painter, like you've got a connection of network that you can bring together to make that happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it.
don't do it.
Right.
Don't even think about it.
Okay.
It's a big financial investment that could potentially not return on that investment if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't have the right style or design choices, you might not be appealing to the audience of home buyers. And more often than not, people get screwed by bad contractors.
Right.
Especially if you don't have a relationship with them. Guys not showing up on time, products or materials that are delayed,
Right.
Jobs not done properly, not done 100%.
Yeah.
They leave the job before it's completed. There's so many variables. So
Right.
just buy a home, get it tenanted, be a landlord, be happy with that. Start with one, start
Okay.
small, start where it's affordable. That's my advice.
Smart. It's good advice. It's like you're a realtor or something, you know? It's crazy.
Not just a friendly face.
Not just a friendly face.
All right. I think that's it.
I think that's it too. That was really good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye, TikTok.
Bye, TikTok. See you soon.
Pleasure is all
Pleasure.
mine.
Thank you. It was really helpful.
Good.
Thanks a lot. I'll be up in North Bay if you want to catch me.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for watching episode 190 of KT Confidential. I hope that helped, and I hope it answered all of your questions because I know it answered mine. Stay tuned for episode 191.